Hello YouTube, it's Rails Stew here. Now, I am in a little house in the mountains of Virginia. And this is basically, I guess you could say, vacation for a nice long 5-day weekend for Thanksgiving. My birthday was yesterday on the 23rd and I'm 14 and I feel absolutely no difference between 13 and 14. And honestly, I wasn't expecting to feel any different. My voice is kind of deeper than it was maybe a year ago. I don't know. I've been growing, so yeah, that's cool. And I got new camera gear for some of the presents. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing that as well as sharing my trip. This video is basically a special that I'm putting together. This is at the beginning of the trip, but I'm putting this special together to show you my trip. And the camera gear I'm getting is going to have a combination of random cutscenes of me talking and scenery. So just expect some randomness. So I already recorded my main dialogue for the camera gear I'm about to show. So I hope you enjoy this video. And I will see you in my next cut. So, of course, the main purpose of this video is to show you my new camera equipment. Starting us off, we have my new lens, which is the Sigma 18-50mm f2.8 to 4.5. This is basically the previous lens to the Sigma 17-50mm f2.8, not to 4.5. It's an f2.8 with constant aperture. But this lens we got for a much better price and a much better deal, and it's really not losing too much. It still has optical image stabilization, it still has an f2.8 aperture, although not constant, still great. It also has basically the same focal length except for a 1mm difference, which really is nothing. And it does have the same kind of quality. Maybe a little bit of sharpness lost here and there, but honestly, when I'm looking at the images, they are very, very nice to look at. This lens produces some great images with my Nikon D3300. The only downsides I have right now is, well, one, the lens is pretty big and pretty heavy, especially compared to my kit lens. Mainly it's heavy and makes my camera as a whole a lot more heavier, but you know, what am I going to expect from this thing? But also, the autofocus isn't working properly. Now, it just won't use its autofocus. I need to Google it still to make sure I could maybe fix it or something, but honestly, I'm using manual focus 99.999% of the time anyway, so it's really not a big deal for me. Overall, this is a really great lens. It also came with some filters, so I can do some cool stuff with those. And those specific filters are, well, the main useful, and there are two other filters that are kind of useless, but this one is the good one. It's an Exit Pro Series digital CPL filter. Now, if you don't know what a CPL filter is, it basically cuts reflections, glare, and makes the sky all blue and dark depending on how you twist it. And it really, really helps. It also cuts down on light, which kind of makes a little bit of a improvised ND filter, which for me is always plus. I mean, I'll have this thing on just so it can cut down on light, because one problem that I have is I always need to make my aperture super tiny, like super tiny, and it's never really convenient at all. So having that, and it also having a small aperture, I found it kind of degrades the lens quality. So having this as a little improvised ND filter cuts down on glare, reflections, and makes the sky a better, more natural color, and has an equal exposure with, like, for example, if you can look out here, the sky is bright and this is different. It can equalize that more. Not perfect, but it equalizes that more. So that's definitely a plus. So yeah, let's move on to number 2 of my filmmaking gear, and that is the Spider Steady shoulder rig that my sister is completely obsessed with using. It's basically what it says. It's a shoulder rig that can fold into different configurations, including something that resembles the fig rig. And it's a really, really great shoulder rig. I mean, it can fold, it can get all compact, and it's also pretty light. It's made out of good, strong metal, and it really helps on getting stable shots. One thing I love, though, is that my lens has optical image stabilization with the stabilization of my shoulder rig, so I can get a really nice, stable handheld shot. and also this combination of my camera, new lens, and rig, all stuff kind of makes me look like James Bond in filmmaking form.
Let's go! Click, clap, bullet. Click, clap, bullet. Click, click, bullet. Let's go!
Cause I'm a motherfucking, cause I'm a motherfucking, cause I'm a motherfucking.
This part of the dock is actually made for big boats, but look what I can do. Is that cool? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm an expert.
Oh man. Wow.
Oh yeah. That's awesome.
Come on.
How fun is this trip so far, Lauren?
Very. You got crushed in spoons last night.
I did. You can now film me a long distance out here.
Oh man.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! I am the best kayak peddler in the world.
I
Oh
see.
yeah!
I want to get back in there now.
Back in
The
your
kayak and go. Lucky.
Lucky, well there's a kayak right there. Go on ahead.
Okay.
All right, Lauren, you're in a bigger kayak.
Yep.
Oh, here she goes.
Now don't go there. I always say. I'm stranded.
Are you?
I'm stranded ashore.
I don't have a rescue kayak because I'm doing the filming.
I'll do my I'm not poor anymore.
You can do it, Lauren. You can do it, Lauren.
No. Oh crap.
Oh.
Ow.
You okay?
Yeah, this thing got hurt. Ollie, I have more to show you.
You
That's
do?
not all I can do.
Apparently Lauren is having some trouble. You having some trouble, Lauren?
A bit, but I can do it. Ow! I have a high tendency to bump into things.
You do, actually, just in real life.
I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm clumsy.
Not too clumsy. I've seen some people who are really clumsy. I don't know so much. It's great. I would love to be out kayaking right now. In fact, Lauren and I did twice, but a front came through last night, and it's absolutely freezing cold. And it's pretty much unkayakable unless you dress up in polar winter gear. And still, the Weather Channel said the wind was going 15 to 25 miles per hour, and I don't blame them. The wind is whipping out there, and it's making it hard to kayak. And it's just so cold. Everything is just so cold. So I'm kind of having more of an inside day today.